All right, it's that time again. PDL Season 4, Week 6, and we're taking on the West Palm Beach Wattrels, coached by Kodamarin. I've played this guy a couple of times before. He's a very good draft player, and he works hard in his prep. There's a good chance that he's going to bring out some crazy sets that I'm not expecting. And this guy knocked me out, by the way, knocked me out in the semifinals of Season 2. So I would, if I were having a better season, probably talk this up as a big mid-season showdown, maybe some playoff scenarios on the line, maybe a chance to get revenge for that Season 2 elimination. As it is, I don't think I'll be making the playoffs this season, so the pressure's kind of off, but it still would be good to get a win over such a strong player as we wind this season down. So we'll do our best and see how it goes. Kodamarin has a team full of threats. You got, first and foremost, Tornadus. Let's go through the list properly, actually. Tornadus, Breloom, Hisuian Typhlosion, Electros, White Stripe Basculin, Magneton, Spupa, Sylveon, Alolan Persian, Galarian Slowking, and Brixen. Tornadus stands out right off the bat as the best Tailwind setter in the game, and actually a fairly versatile Pokemon. You can do a lot of offensive stuff with it. You can do other Prankster support stuff like Taunt. It can throw off Icy Wind for additional speed control. Bleak Wind Storm can get you some speed drops. It has a pretty decent offensive move pool, as well as other strong support options like Leer for if you have a niche tech that makes use of that. Plus it can generate momentum with U-turn. It's an excellent Pokemon. And you pair that with Hisuian Typhlosion, and now you're firing off super strong eruptions, maybe Terra Fire, maybe Specs, who knows what it is, that are hard for realistically any team to deal with, right? It immediately is is a giant threat, no matter what kind of matchup you have into this team. And without and with the best speed control in the game pretty much on its side, there's not a lot you can do to prevent those attacks. He also has another very strong spread special attacker in Sylveon. The Sylveon being slower might benefit more from the Trick Room kind of mode that he also has available with Galarian Slowking. That said, when I look at this team, I see more of a Tailwind team than a Trick Room team, and I considered that in my prep, but obviously he can run either one. He can go fairly slow with things like Magneton and Electros. Electros is actually a pretty strong Trick Room attacker. Breloom can throw off Spores or strong physical attacks. In Tailwind or in Trick Room. Either way, it's just a well-rounded team with a ton of threats and the ability to play a fast mode or a slow mode, so no matter what your opponent brings, you can try to throw them off in some way. Alolan Persian then is also an excellent fast support Pokemon. It gets Fake Out, and it gets a lot of other strong support options like Parting Shot, like Switcheroo for certain techs, Taunt, Icy Wind. There's a lot that Alolan Persian can do, and I know Kodamarin is something of a Persian fan in Draft League play. Basculin gives him a water type, and it's not the most exciting water type, but it's pretty solid. It has some decent stats, and remember, this form of Basculin can use the Eviolite to bulk up, which gives it pretty strong stats all around. And finally, I don't really know what Spupa does. Spupa gets Rage Powder. That's good to know. And it can do Struggle Bug, and it can do status stuff. I don't think it's the most likely Pokemon to see in this matchup, but it has some utility for sure. And Brixen, I'm expecting some interesting support techs on Brixen as well. I don't really know what Brixen does on this team. But there's plenty to watch out for, even without being sure about that one. So when I played Kodamarin twice in Season 2, I won in the regular season, and then he beat me in the semifinals. We both had teams that could do fast offense or could do Trick Room offense, and I really focused on controlling which one it was going to be. I built my team to prevent him from getting Trick Room while going for a faster offensive mode than he had. I have not taken the same approach this time. Instead, I've gone back to sort of the one thing that I know with this team that I have right now, the kind of build that got us our one win so far, even as it hasn't held up in other weeks. And I've given myself flexibility in offense versus bulk. This team can play offensive, or it can play bulky, And it depends very much on what I see at preview. So I have different ideas about how to play into a Tailwind mode from Kodameron with Tornadus versus a Trick Room mode built around Slowking. I also took note of the fact that he has a lot of strong special attackers in Tornadus, Typhlosion, Magneton, Sylveon. Persian can be a special attacker, so can Slowking. Even Electros can, right? So I did bring things for his physical attackers. Obviously, Breloom is not a Pokemon I can just ignore in the builder, but I figured that I could get myself into a strong position if I get the best possible matchup into his special attackers. And so I took that into account in the builder as well, while making sure that it wasn't my only option. And so I kind of started with Blissey. This matchup actually was one of the reasons I drafted Blissey in the first place. There's not a lot that I can throw at a speed-boosted Typhlosion, Sylveon, Magneton team. But especially defensive Blissey is probably the best thing in the game for just generally tanking special hits. I do actually feel a little weird starting on Blissey right now, because obviously it's running a support set. Thunderwave gives me a little bit of speed control if he's not running Trick Room or not using it in a given game. The main thing here is Life 2, just to keep the team alive, to enable setup, especially from Flareon. And then Seismic Toss for a bit of damage. Healer, right, Terra Poison and Healer give Blissey some kind of playability against Breloom. Poison resisting both of Breloom's stabs, and Healer helping Blissey's allies shrug off Spore. And then Citrus Berry, because the leftovers were spoken for elsewhere. So that's Blissey. Blissey is the defensive backbone into some of the most obvious modes that Kodameron can run, and I probably would try to pair it with Flareon. I've brought back a similar Flareon set to the one that I used in Week 1, with that being a Flash Fire Calm Mind set, although this time I've, again, invested heavily in Special Bulk, because I'm concerned about taking hits from strong special attackers and trying to set up on them, right? Terra Grass, I think it's relatively unlikely that I Terrasilize Flareon this time, but Terra Grass does give it another way to deal with Spore, besides hoping that, relying on Healer. With Flash Fire, it doesn't open up a weakness to Typhlosion or Braixen, and it creates a resistance to Basculin Stab, and also to Electric, to Magneton Stab, and Electros. That said, Flareon is probably not my first choice to Terrasilize. We'll play it by ear, but the option there is available if I want it. Heat Wave hits a lot of his team hard, and Shadow Ball hits the rest. I didn't find Grass Terra Blast especially useful, especially considering that I'm not planning to Terrasilize Flareon in the same kind of way that I was for Week 1, but Shadow Ball gives me a good neutral coverage move into the relevant parts of his team. Next we have Espathra, and Espathra was the set that I actually fleshed out first, even as I'd previously decided, even if Blissey was the first Pokemon that I chose for this set, and I kept flip-flopping back and forth on what to do with Espathra. I really thought about doing like a fast, frail hypnosis and gravity kind of thing, but in the end I decided that I wanted to go bulky this week, and play better into Kodameron's stronger speed control options than I have. And I wanted to try to use Espathra and Sandy Shocks to break through the team as I found openings. So into something like Tailwind or Trick Room, special offense heavy kind of team, this is probably my backbone. But into a different kind of build, if Kodameron plays it in a more kind of... if Kodameron plays it in a way that is that shuts this down, then I have the option of trying to break through with strong special offense from Espathra and Sandy Shocks. So Espathra has Lumina Crash to create openings for Sandy Shocks to pick off his Pokemon, and Dazzling Gleam rounds out its coverage. I didn't really feel like I needed a third attack on Espathra. There was probably a case for Ground Terra Blast, and I'll talk about the Ground Terra type in a second, but given that I put so much prep into dealing with Kodameron's special attackers, I do, not want to ignore the threat from something like Breloom, physical Electros, Basculin, even physical Tornadus. It's not like he doesn't have physical offense. And so I thought that Feather Dance would be useful in a pinch to give my team a little more resilience to the side of the spectrum that I had prepared less for. It also means that I can run Espathra with Blissey or with Flareon, and weaken his physical attackers while also walling or boosting on his special ones, ideally. We'll see how it works in practice. And Espathra otherwise is meant to be paired with Sandy Shocks, which is running speed, your basic speed booster energy, but I brought Discharge, and that's why I have Terra Ground on Espathra. The idea is, hypothetically, it's one of multiple options for any given game here. Terra Ground, Lumina Crash, lower the special defense, and then get off big spread damage with Discharge. Maybe it knocks something out, maybe it paralyzes something in a key moment, but the idea is to wear through his team and give me opportunities to clean it up, right? And I didn't feel like, I said that my team, that I was running bulk on my team this week. Sandy Shocks, I expect him to do an offensive EV spread because it's here to do a lot of damage primarily. And so wasn't a lot of use in a defensive Terra type, and normally I'd run like Terra Blast Ice or Terra Blast Fire or something to round out its coverage, give it a tool into grass types. But since I was running Discharge this time, and I also wanted Thunderbolt for a safer attack when not next to Terrastalized Espathra, I figured Terra Electric, just for more damage on its electric attacks, was fine this week. I didn't really need any other Terra type. Urshifu is here just to be his usual strong self. Urshifu could do a cleanup role after these guys have tried to break through some stuff. Urshifu could complement Flareon and help it deal with some threats, but mostly it's just a strong Pokemon that's here to do damage where it can, so that I'm not all in on setup or on these guys to hit his team hard, and I have strong physical offense into it as well. Focus Sash Urshifu is something that I feel like I could have explored more this season. I wasn't that impressed with the specs or scarf sets that I was running earlier, and a Focus Sash turns Urshifu into even more of a threat than it already is, of course, because it takes more work to knock it out. And I didn't feel like any one Urshifu attack was especially spammable this week. In some earlier weeks, I felt like I could spam Wicked Blow, so I did Wicked Blow with a choice item. But this time, Kodameron has resistances to any given Urshifu attack, and so the ability to switch moves seemed more valuable here. With Terra Poison and Poison Jab covering the obvious fairy weakness, including into Sylveon. Finally, I did bring Rage Powder Venomoth this week after my talk about not being able to fit it onto the team last week, when I think it might still have been useful after all. Venomoth is... yeah. So Venomoth, I can just throw Venomoth in front of some kind of dangerous lead or something from Kodameron, and create openings for Flareon to set up, for Espathra to get speed boosts, for Urshifu to start attacking, whatever it might be. Venomoth doesn't really have a specific role in a specific mode, but I can slot it in somewhere if I feel like the support that it gives with Rage Powder is the key to taking this team over the top. Bug Buzz and Sludge Bomb so that Venomoth can just throw off attacks if I don't need the Rage Powder support, or if it's more useful to have a second threat on the field. Terra Electric is mostly just a good neutral defensive type into the Wattrels team here. It also does specifically resist flying, so if Tornadus tries to mess with Venomoth, I have some kind of defensive tool for that. And finally, I was tempted to put the Focus Sash on this, maybe with a faster EV spread, but by this point I really liked the idea of Sash Urshifu in this matchup, and I didn't really want to take the Sash away from him. So, being kind of stuck for another item for Venomoth, I decided to just see if I can cheese with Bright Powder. Obviously, it's not likely to actually work, but it'll be pretty hype if it does. And, this is the kind of season we're having here. I'll take pretty hype if it does work. So, I'm going to stop recording, actually, and let Kodameron know that I'm available to play anytime. I'll probably be recording again pretty soon. But anyway, I'll see you at the battles. Okay, he really was ready almost immediately. It's been like 2 minutes. Good luck, have fun. Okay, so we brought Tornadus, Typhlosion, Persian, Basculin, Magneton, and Breloom. So there's no Trick Room stuff here. But I have to worry about Tailwind. The other reason I brought bulky Espathra is that without Tailwind, it outruns his team after one speed boost anyway. But Obviously, with Tailwind, it's a different calculation. What do I want to do here? Typhlosion, Magneton. Typhlosion is his strongest attacker. And obviously Flareon having Flash Fire doesn't have to worry about an eruption. What if I try the Flareon mode in Game 1? When am I gonna fix my trainer before I start recording? What if I try the Flareon mode in Game 1, but I lead it with Espathra? I'll put Blissey in the back. And so the idea here is if he leads like Breloom or Basculin, I can get off a Feathered Dance. I don't think I want Venomoth in the back. I don't really see the vision there. Either one of these guys... I will bring Sandy Shocks in the back. I think it does more into this team overall than Urshifu does. So let's see. Persian, Basculin. Easy fake out, but then I don't know what the Basculin does. Does it just try to attack something? I'm just going to double protect and see what the Basculin wants to do. He doesn't even have to go for fake out. He could have a different plan. I'm just so... I don't know, maybe I'm just so low ladder brained now that if I see a Pokemon that can fake out, I assume it will immediately. But... unless I've miscalculated something, Espathra is guaranteed faster than Persian after one speed boost. And yeah, we can scout what the Basculin does here. Okay. Just straight wave crash into Flareon. An Icy Wind. Okay, fair enough. Do I Terrastalize Flareon? It's a scary thought, right? Because it makes Tornadus a threat. Though, only Tornadus. I'm gonna do it, and if I regret it, that's information for Game 2. Terra, Calm Mind, and Feather Dance into Basculin. Let's go. Goes for the Wave Crash into Espathra this time. Well, I don't love that use of my Terra in that case. Oh well. I go Blissey here. The Basculin can switch out and back in and be a threat. Yeah. I mean, hindsight's 2020, but I don't feel very good about that Terra. Now that I know that the Basculin wasn't targeting Flareon that turn. Sandy Shocks can threaten something immediately. The Persian is a problem. I'm gonna go Blissey. I'm gonna Heat Wave. And I'm gonna Thunder Wave the Basculin slot. I think Basculin's gonna switch, yeah. Snarl. Yeah, I mean, valid. Okay, Tornadus paralyzed. That does some damage. It did some damage. The crit on Tornadus obviously helps, but it did some damage. Calm Mind again. I'm gonna Calm Mind again. And I'm gonna Seismic Toss Persian. Persian is a bit of a problem right now for my offense on account of Snarl. Bleak Wind Storm does decent damage to Flareon, but obviously it's going to do less now, and I can... oh, what was that berry? Citrus. Okay. I can Protect and Life Dew. Try to keep Flareon nice and healthy. I haven't seen a taunt yet. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I can't rely on Life Dew from here. Because like taunting Blissey seems like a pretty obvious play for him. I'm gonna go for another Calm Mind, and I'm gonna Seismic Toss Persian again. Of course, a crit on Flareon pretty much ends this too. Well, maybe not ends. Sandy Shocks is pretty strong into what he has here, but I would be surprised if Sandy Shocks could 1v4. He's really thinking. There's the taunt on Blissey. Bleak Wind does decent damage still. We're reducing it every time. Okay. Got the Persian low. So that's good. Flareon is faster than Blissey. If it weren't, then I would consider doing like a Seismic Toss Shadow Ball into Persian, try to cover for a possible switch. I'm gonna Heat Wave. Yeah, I'm gonna Heat Wave. I'm gonna Seismic Toss Persian. Okay, there's the Breloom. Big para. Big damage on Breloom, and it's gone. Alright, that's a serious threat off the board this game. In fact, his only significant damage into Flareon now should be Bleak Windstorm. So let's just try to get rid of that. Let's... This is just going to delete my Blissey now, isn't it? I'm going to Shadow Ball Tornadus to get rid of the miss chance. And I'll try to Seismic Toss Tornado. No, I don't like that play. You can protect it. I'm going to Shadow Ball Tornadus. Oh, I do have to Seismic Toss something, though. Seismic Toss Basculin. I just don't want to double into... Sorry, started the recording. He got rid of my Flareon with last respects. You know, I didn't think about that. Bit unfortunate. Bit unfortunate. It's Terra Ghost, too, so... Terra Ghost. I'm gonna... Also, why did I say that I had speed boosting booster energy? I knew it was special attack. And that does change things quite a bit. I definitely remember making a decision to boost special attack. I don't know why I got it mixed up when I started recording. Well, I think what I'm going to do... Again, he can probably just delete Blissey here, although not with last respects, obviously. Maybe the Basculin is choiced. It's possible, right? So I'm going to protect Sandy Shocks, and I'm going to try to Thunder Wave the Basculin. Let's see. Goes back to Persian. Okay. And taunts Blissey again. That's valid. I kind of want to just discharge. I'll obviously hit my own Blissey, but I don't think I'm all that worried about that right now. I'm just going to discharge and Seismic Toss a Pokemon. Can delete these two. Maybe there's some kind of winning endgame possible here. Fake out into Sandy Shocks. Good call. Get rid of Persian. But this... Oh, man. Well, okay, here's the thing, right? I can protect and Seismic... Try to Seismic Toss Tornado. I think I just discharge here. I mean, if it comes down to Blissey Basculin, that's impossible to win anyway. And I mean, the protect and get rid of Tornadus, try to make a 2-on-1 is kind of obvious, I think. I think this might be the turn he deletes Blissey, so I'm just going to discharge. Aqua Jet. Ooh. But we won. Okay. Ooh, folks. It looked a little rough at times, but we got game one. Still 2 more to go. Well, 1 more if we win it. Clutch discharge there from the Sandy Shocks. Okay. How's he going to adjust? You know what I want to do? I kind of want to just completely switch it up this game. I mean, I brought a mode that's really strong into Typhlosion. Do I think he's going to bring Typhlosion? Probably not, right? I kind of want to switch it up this game and do Espathra, Sandy Shocks, Urshifu, and what? Blissey or Venomoth? Let's suppose we're leading Espathra, Sandy Shocks. Urshifu in the back. Let's try Venomoth. Let's just bring all the attackers. It's obviously a very different game plan from what I did last game, so maybe it'll shake things up nicely. And even if we go to game 3, he won't know what to expect from there. Am I recording? Am recording. Good. Yeah, we're gonna try this. So Spathra, Sandy Shocks, and he brought Typhlosion. Not leading it with Tornadus. Interesting. We're going to protect around any possible fake out. He also could go for Icy Wind to make my guys slower than Typhlosion. Get off a big eruption. Also could go for Snarl. This lead, yeah, all right. He might have moved me with the lead matchup here. Typhlosion is a problem for what I've led. Icy Wind. Okay, so if he goes for Icy Wind again, it'll be slower than Espathra, but faster than Sandy Shocks. I can just Lumina Crash into Typhlosion, right? Get off what damage I can. I think that's my play here, right? I'll do the Terra Ground, Lumina Crash Discharge Tech, and a Lumina Crash into Typhlosion to reduce the eruption damage. And then try to get off a big... Did I Terrasilize there? Try to get off a big discharge. Okay, yeah, valid. Valid. Paralyzed Persian. That's big. That's huge. That should make this play pretty safe. I don't know if he keeps Typhlosion in here. I think we do the same play again. Okay, he did keep it in. We knocked it out. Persian's paralyzed. Typhlosion's gone. Obviously the stat drops on Sandy Shocks are a bit of a trade-off there. This has Aqua Jet. But if it goes for Aqua Jet, then it's not into Espathra, then it's not attacking Sandy Shocks. So I think I can do something into Basculin. I can either Feather Dance or Lumina Crash. Wait. Yeah, it might be faster than Sandy Shocks. Okay. Okay, let's not be too hasty. I'm going to Feather Dance and Protect. Went for the Aqua Jet play into Sandy Shocks. Interesting. Do I think Sandy Shocks takes an Aqua Jet from here? Gonna be honest with you, I do not know. I would like to get rid of the Breloom. Or the Basculin. I feel like... okay, okay, could have Mach Punch on the Breloom, but it doesn't have Technician. It has Poison Heal. Lumina Crash Breloom and Discharge probably gives me something. He might have a way around this, but if this works, I'm in such a good position from there. That did a lot of damage. That did a lot of damage. It's just this. I'm going to double protect. So he can't get me with fake out. I'm gonna let Espathra go down if that's what he wants. I'm just gonna Dazzling Gleam discharge. Espathra holds on. And folks, the free agent pickups have done it. And we're finally back in the winner's circle. Ugh, this is why you play the season out, right? GG's Kodamaran. Always a pleasure to play him. But that's it. We got another win. One final note before I sign off here. The league organizers announced just today, actually, that next week's matches, we're actually going to get 2 weeks to play them. Apparently, some people have had trouble getting theirs done, and so they've given an extra week to catch up. So this will go up on Sunday as usual, and then I don't know. Then week 7 will go up either the week after that or 2 weeks after that. I think I'd prefer to play in the first week if I can, but it'll depend on my opponent. So we'll see about that. Maybe I'll come up with something else to upload if I don't have another Draft League match. But for now, this is it. See you next time.